This is the channel for the woman who's done playing small, the woman who knows there's a fire in her belly, a voice in her bones, and a destiny she's done apologizing for. If you're ready to unleash the woman you were born to be, hit subscribe and join the movement. I'm Leona Schrock, and let's rise together.
Let's talk about why high achieving women have a difficult time asking for what it is that they desire and what it is that they need. So, something that I see common thread across the board with the women that I work with, and it's something that definitely has been a common thread in my life as well. It's a place that I've had to do some really, really deep inner work in, is we have this in the driver's seat. It's a subtle subconscious belief system that is the driving force in your life. I don't want to be a burden. High achievers are born out of doing. You did not feel safe in the beingness of who you are. So for you to now show up and fully express from your heart, why would you? I mean, nobody can do it as fast as you can anyways. You may as well just get it done. You may as well just do it by yourself. It shows up wrapped up, not saying I'm a burden. It's I'll just take care of it because if I take care of it, it gets done correctly. Or it's everybody's busy, or I don't have anybody in my life that actually knows truly how to take care of things the way that I do. There is so many different I don't want to bother somebody. It's I don't You have a legit story that makes so much sense with inside of yourself as to why you won't ask other people for something that you desire or something that you need. And how this works is in relationships and in your business, it's going to create a disconnect because there is a disconnect that is happening on the inside of you. It's not that you're broken and it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's that you have literally been programmed that if you want something, you're going to make it happen because that is what you did in order to keep yourself safe. That is what you did as a child to get your needs met. You began to do things because you no longer felt safe. You didn't feel seen as a child. So you did the very genius thing that you knew how to do something and you began to perform. And when you performed, you had an outcome. When you performed, you had a release to, let me X this off. When you perform, you had a release to that fear, that survival of, am I going to stay alive? Is this going to be okay? And this one, in every single one of the women that I've worked with, and also with inside of myself, is going straight down to the trenches of unworthiness. And it doesn't show on the surface because you've built the life, you have the success, you do very well for yourself in your life. In fact, financially, you're pretty like you're comfortable. You might not be quite where you want to be, but you know that you can make it happen. And your life seems to be on the outside put together. But on the inside, you don't feel so put together, especially when it comes to you expressing what some of your deepest desires are, areas that you would truly like to have support. But you've been so deeply conditioned and so deeply programmed that you just think that this is the way that you do life. But yet, on the inside of you, you crave to have that connection. You crave to have that deep, soulful, meaningful purpose and passion on the inside of you with your work and with your humans. And so I want you to start asking yourself the question of what are the areas in my life where I stop myself from reaching out or sharing simple little moments that I know that you know this. I already know because you are me. If you are watching this, you are me. Of where you have moments in your life where things happen good, bad, exciting, happy, sad, angry, whatever, where you would like to reach out to some of your people, but you don't because you think they have a lot going on. or you don't because it's like it's not that big of a deal, or you don't because it's like I don't want to bother anybody, or you don't because you don't know how to express yourself without being the one that shows up for everybody else. You don't feel safe to be wanted, to be chosen, to be seen, to be fully expressed. If you did not grow up in a household where you were fully seen for you and your heart and your emotions, and you were held in that capacity, you don't feel safe to show up as you, to ask for what it is that you desire. I want you to be with that for a little bit. And it shows up in all of these micro moments. I'm at a place that if I want to go to dinner or some, and this where this shows up the most is with masculinity. I'm in a place in my life that if I want to go to dinner somewhere, I will go by myself. I can. I've taken myself out on dates alone all the time. I'm also very particular about who I spend my time with, right? And I used to be where sometimes I would think and I'd be like, well, I would like, oh, it's fine if it was girlfriends, but I was not fine if it was a guy friend or a guy in my life. Now I'm to the point, now I don't ask men out on dates, but I have men in my life who I am friends with that if I want to go to dinner with one of them, I'll be like, hey, I want to go to dinner. What are your thoughts? I asked for what it is that I need. For my youngest one's graduation party, I have people who are bringing me stuff. I have people who are asking me, what can we do? I let them. Everybody wants to feel needed in life. And when we don't feel safe to receive and we don't feel safe to express, we we disconnect. So for me, this is the first time that I've ever done an event where I have so many people doing stuff for me. It's like this most surreal feeling because I'm like, ugh, like I like it, but ugh, it's kind of different. Wow, I love this, but I don't. It feels uncomfortable, but I love it more than I don't love it. But I realize in this that I'm a big giver. I love to give, but I had such a difficult time allowing people to give to me. And I'm like, well, if people, I love when people allow me to give. That makes me feel like I get to add to their life. So why am I trying to take that away from other people? Because I feel unsafe to be seen. I feel unsafe to receive. And I had this huge, huge programming on the inside of me. Well, I don't ever want somebody to hold that over me because that's what I grew up in. And that's what I was married into. I did this for you. And now you need to do this. Well, remember when I did X, Y, and Z for you? And I was like, good God Almighty. I don't ever want to hear that in my life again. And I had to do years and years and years and years of deprogramming of, okay, it's safe to allow somebody to come in. And it was especially with the men. I was just like, no, you're not going to do something for me. No, you're not going to hold that over my head later. You're not going to have power over me. But I was giving my power away by not allowing people to be. And I remember this one mentor I was working with, she said, well, you're carrying the responsibility of if they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart or if they're feeling obligated, and that is on them. And I didn't know how to detach from that responsibility for the longest time until I realized that I was always carrying the weight of the responsibility of other people. And instead, I need to make myself responsible for myself and let them be responsible for them instead of trying to control myself. I mean, try to control the situation and self protect so deeply. Because when you open yourself up and you are fully grounded and rooted in your femininity and who you are, and you start to dissolve that wound of I'm afraid of being a burden, the people that are in your life to only because what they can get out of you and that would hold that very thing against you will fall off anyways. They'll go bye-bye. Trust me. When people come into my world and they quickly understand that I am all in, and you are either all in my circle or you are not in my circle, and this is a two-way street. I give big, you give big. It's called relationships, interdependent relationships. It's not independent and it's not codependent. And you're interdependent. And my humans realize that, and I see they don't have that energy, that capacity within inside of themselves to give that. It's not that I'm like, oh, what can you do for me? It's like, no, do I want this person in my life? How do I feel with this person in my life? Do I want them here? Yes, I do love them. And then there's people where I'm like, oh, okay, I see where you're at in your life. Love you and leave you. Phew, move on. It's not that I don't care. It's that I am aligning myself and surrounding myself with my community. I am an expert at building community. I left a whole community and had to rebuild twice. First, it was from the Amish culture, and then it was from my marriage. I had to rebuild it all. For the longest time, community frightened me. I was like, ooh, it's the very place where there's so much pain. I don't want anything to do with that. I was like, I don't need anybody. I don't want anybody. I got this. I'm never going to let anybody hurt me again. I ain't going to ever ask anybody for something. I ain't doing it. God forbid a girl would ask me to do something. That was a whole nother level. But then as I healed and I opened myself up and I allowed myself to start to feel safe, to be protected for and provided for, and stop being the God of my own life and starting to meet myself and understand and know and go deep into the trenches of my self-worth and do a lot of work around the fact that I'm not a burden and that I add value to people's life. Every day I ask myself, how can I add value to people's lives? That's like the running programming through my brain. And it's like, I'm not a burden. I add value. That's who I am at the very core being. That is how I run, breathe, and believe is adding value to people's life. Not necessarily always by doing either, by simply being present. Because as the feminine, your presence is what is so powerful. I no longer perform in relationships. Do I perform in work? 100%. But it's about an experience. It's about this beautiful dance. It's about this beautiful community. It's about being interwebbed and having the color and the zest and the beauty and all of the different things. So when you go down and you do the deep inner work of removing and dissolving the belief system of you being a burden and instead embody the value of who you are as a woman. And this is the work that we do in my one-on-one. We stop your patterns in real time because they show up all day, every day, in the most simplest ways that you're not even aware of. And now you're going to start noticing it every time that it happens because I brought awareness forward to you. And be aware of this sneaky one of where you bypass yourself. It doesn't matter. I don't need it anyway. It's not a big deal. I've got me. I can give it to me. You can. It's not taking you from independent to codependent. It's from you being dependent on yourself and understanding that you can open yourself up and trust yourself to know yourself. Because when you trust yourself and you know yourself is when you'll begin to trust to allow other people to come into your world. That's when life becomes juicy. That's when you take your life from where you build it through a high achievement and you go into the deep embodiment and reclaim the power of who you are as a woman. That's what is coming in my program. I'm almost done with my program. I know I crash and burn my program so many times. And this time I just did module 7. It's emotional regulation. It's about you being in your emotions and your ooey gooey juiciness. Ugh. This program is going to change so many women's lives. And if you're anything like me, you like to get straight to the point. You like to have both, where you work one-on-one and you have a program on the sidelines to work through. This is the magic that you've been looking for. But I really want you to ask yourself the question of where can I allow more support in? And when am I feeling like a burden and I abandon or betray my own desires to shrink myself and to make myself smaller and just do the things on my own because I don't want to bother anybody else, or it's easier if I do it alone. You want to go deeper, if you want to go further and you're like, I want to go all in, or you want to see the programs that I do have, I have a $27 offer. And then I have my Reclaim Her Power program that I'm putting together that's almost ready to execute into the world. But I am going to let some of you get in access before it's even fully ready to launch, just so you can get like in there and start doing the ooey gooey things. And then I have my one-on-one program. So if you're like, I want this, I need this, then message me and I will walk you through what that looks like. Until next episode, I want you to start allowing yourself to be more deeply supported, loved, nurtured, nourished, and know that you are so valuable.